We've given the Hotbin a day's rest, and last night I came out and looked at the temperature and we're just borderlining onto the 40-degree mark, but this morning when I've looked we're still at that point. So I was thinking, during the night it would probably go up a little bit more. So as Freddie Mercury said in Queen, I won it all and I won it now. I kind of think it should have gone up a little bit more by now. Now I think if I was patient and left it, it probably would just carry on rising as I fed it all. But I just want to do a little bit of poking around just to see what is going on and to see if I can get the temperature to go up a little bit quicker. So I'll show you what's going on inside, and then I'm going to take the hatch door off and just check to see if there's any gaps there that might be causing us not to go up to temperature that quick. So have a look what's going on inside, and then we'll take the hatch door off. So we've been just borderlining the green, which is 40 degrees, and we went up about 5 degrees over the period of yesterday because I kept having a quick look to see what was going on. But with all this stuff I put in there the day before, I would kind of think we would be going up a little bit quicker than that. So like I say, I'm going to take the hatch door off. If we look at, we didn't have a lot of leachate coming out, but this morning some is starting to come out. And I think it's still looking a tiny bit milky, but I don't know if that's just because of there was maybe some residue left, but it's definitely clearer than it was the last time I showed you, but still not what I call black and really dark. So yeah, I'm going to take the hatch door off and we're going to check that out. But we've got tons of worms at the bottom here. We're talking loads of them. And as soon as I've taken that door off, around the hatch there, we've got a lot of worms as well. I can see steam coming out, which is a really good sign. It does smell a little bit, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape these worms out of the way and put them into my compost. I am wondering if there's a load of worms underneath as well, which are causing a problem. So I've pulling some of this out, and I can see there is actually, you can see the steam coming out there. So I'm feeling quite confident that we are going to be back up to temperature, probably a little bit quicker than I thought. I just want to check, like I said in at the beginning of this video, when I emptied it, I did check the air things were fine, and like I say, if you put the thing down you can see that they're all good. That's not the issue. I think we are looking like we've probably solved most of it. This is just all going to go back in the hot bin anyway, and there's a lot of steam coming out, so I'm happy that with a couple more feeds we probably will be doing quite well. So all this is going to go back in the hot bin, and I'm just going to put another feed in and we'll give it another day and see what happens with that. But we've got some nice steam coming out, so we're definitely warm in there, and everything hopefully is looking quite good. Let's get that on the right way. So I've got the hatch door back on now, and I'm going to give it a good stir up again, make sure all that gap there gets compacted down again, and then I'm going to add in the waste that I've taken out into the top and give that a good stir in as well. So everything's been stirred back in. I'm going to give it a normal feed now, and then we'll see. I'm pretty certain with the steam that's coming out and the temperature I can feel on my hands that we're going to be back up to temperature within the next day or two. Because the Hotbin is at 40 degrees when we looked at it, I'm pretty certain now with the heat that I can see in there that we're going to be able to put cooked meat and food into the Hotbin now. So I've got the kitchen caddy's got a few chicken bones in there. I'm going to just add all that in as well now. I've taken a few handfuls of the cut grass as well, and I'm going to add in some bulking agent and cardboard which I've torn up. So let's go and add that in, and hopefully we'll give that a day's rest, and the next time we open the Hotbin we should be well into the green. As you can see in the picture in the corner, when I came home late last night, I had a look in the Hotbin and the temperature hadn't gone up, but I had noticed quite a lot of leachate had come out, and when I looked there I could see all these worms coming out of the mesh plate, and I was like a bit shocked and thinking to myself, that's definitely why there's no aeration, air getting into the Hotbin. So the problem is this week me and Mrs. B's work schedules sort of cross each other, so we're not going to have time to film that, but I've got time this morning where I'm going to take the whole lot out and just clean underneath the base plate. What I'm going to do is take some photos of what I find. Like I say, we're not going to be able to film it, but we have got videos on the channel that show you how to remove everything and clean underneath the base plate. But I'm going to do that and see what happens with that, because I don't want to wait a whole week before we film again. I want to get the Hotbin hot and up and running again. But like I say, I'll take some photos, we'll leave it in the corner of what I find, and we'll go from there. After emptying the Hotbin and taking the base plate off, you can see in the little video that I took on my own phone how much sludge and worms were underneath the base plate, and I'll show you the bucket where I collected all that sludge from. I kind of think it was so strong, that's why the worms are not happy in there and they're trying to escape. But anyhow, after I took all that out, on the aeration plate down below here, this is the Mark 1 that we've got here, so you can't remove that. But behind there, it was just ram-packed with worms, and I think there is a picture that we're going to show on how many I took out, but I literally had to put my fingers behind and force loads of worms out. I mean, you could see in the video that I took how many worms were trying to escape out of this. I got a spray, one of those pump spray things that I just sprayed behind there just to clean it out completely, so there was no worms, no debris there, and I just literally cleaned it out like we've done before in a previous video. I did kind of think if you had the Mark II, you are able to take this mesh plate out, and you could probably put a hose pipe behind there on full blast, and it would come out of your cap here, so the water would just go through. But when you see like the photos of underneath the base plate, I think it is a good idea, if you do have this problem, just to take the whole thing apart, give it a really good clean up, then put it all back together. I think rather than just putting spraying through that hole so it comes out of your leach aid valve, then I just think probably you're best off just cleaning the whole thing anyway. I got to that stage, cleaned everything up, not perfection, I mean I wasn't selling the thing on eBay, so it didn't have to be pristine, but good enough for what I needed. So all the holes were cleaned out on the base plate, everything put back together, and the results speak for themselves. When I actually emptied it, it was still a warmish day. The compost, when I took it out, I could feel some heat in there, and I just literally put it into containers that I had. But when I actually put it back in, it took me probably about half an hour to an hour to actually empty it, clean it, and get it ready to put stuff back into. But there was still some heat in the actual compost when I put it back in, and it took probably a good day or two before we got back up to 40 degrees. So yeah, definitely it was a day we were up to 40 degrees. And then a day later, a bit of a funny story, I'd come home and I'd looked into the hot bin, and I thought to myself, wow, that is some serious heat in there today. And that day I took the little one to my mum's, and I was there thinking to myself, oh, we really need to film how hot this is for the video. I'll give the missus a call and ask her if she can film it. But I rung her and I said, oh, can you just quickly film the hot bin? And she goes, oh, I've already filmed it, I'm turning into you. I sort of literally got in, and the first thing I did was have a look in the hot bin to see what the temperature was. So it's definitely rubbing off on her as well now. But all I'm trying to say is, after all these years of having the hot bin and that, there's still that enthusiasm and sort of
joy.
Yeah, joy of just getting it up to temperature, keeping it going. And yeah, it's just one of those sort of happy things when you open the hot bin, loads of steam, and you've got a real hot temperature again. You just, I don't know, you can't beat that feeling. It's just such a sort of achievement as well. But anyhow, let's look into the hot bin at the moment. We've been running it at this temperature for a couple of days now, which is really good. So proof in the pudding. So have a quick look again, because it makes me smile every time. So I'm sure if you're watching this, you might have a smile as well. I wouldn't normally be going by this dial for temperature sort of checks, but you can see here how high that is. So ready for this one? We are well over the green here. I don't know if that's going to come out on the camera because Mrs. B keeps saying it steams up every 5 minutes.
Every 5 seconds.
Plus it's not the cleanest of dials, which she probably I'll get a moan about later. But you can see they're nice and hot. I'll give it a little stir up because you'll see inside that now we're not as wet as that initial when we first filmed this video. We're a little bit drier than that initial first video bit, which is where we want to be. And I'm getting like the smell of, I've been putting a little bit of the cut grass in here, so I'm getting a bit of a ammonia smell, which is fine when you're putting grass in your hot bin, but generally that is the only smell I'm getting. The rest is all good. And yeah, happy days with the hot bin now. This is the amount of sludge that we took out at the bottom underneath the base plate. Quite a lot, and that had a lot of worms in there. But I just think that it was too rich. It absolutely stinks as well. And I think that's why the worms were trying to escape out of it. There are some worms that got left in there, and like I say, we've had quite a bit of rainfall the last day, which has filled this bucket up with water, which is probably a good thing because it stops the smell. There are some worms still in there that look like they're dead now, so like I say, I just think it's too rich for that. And what am I going to do with this? I'm probably going to just fill the whole bucket up with water, give it a good stir up, and pour that over the garden somewhere just to get rid of it. It's going to obviously have a lot of goodness in there, but it is probably very rich, so I'm going to dilute it completely down first before I do tip it over things. So a quick summary on the bench, like usual, for all you hardcore viewers. I'll keep this short and sweet because there's always an aeroplane, someone going up and down the road, or people doing building work. So that's why we've woke up at 5 o'clock this morning to film this for you guys. Hot composting isn't an exact science. You don't need to be Einstein to work it out. Basically, if you haven't got enough air going through your hot bin, then it's not going to get hot. And as you've seen in this video, it was a bunch of worms that caused the grief. There is always a reason behind why your hot bin isn't getting hot. Now, we've got 70 videos plus on the channel now, and I'm sure one of those will help you out to get your hot bin hot again. If you've got a problem, if no one else can solve it, then maybe you can hire the B team to help you out with your hot composting problems. And it's not only me that's addicted to hot composting now. I think Mrs. B has joined the club because I think she's checking the hot bin more than me now. So until next time, happy composting, enjoy, and get your wife addicted, or your partner, or whatever they are. That stuff that I took out from the bottom is stinking like you know what. So it's time to wrap this one up. And don't forget, subscribe, leave comments, give us all a thumbs up. And until next time, happy composting and enjoy. What?
Well done again.
That's not a job you want to be doing too often. Cheerio.